Hi guys. Hope your days are going great. I know mine is. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about some of my journey when it came to mistakes I've made, but also things I think I got right uh, in the pursuit of fulfillment. Because originally, I mean, my goal was never peace, really. My goal was never inner peace. Well, I suppose my goal was inner peace, but I didn't know it. Um, I was always seeking for something that was fulfilling, something that was going to bring me meaning, something that, you know, I was proud of. Living a life without, regret in a way that I felt fulfilled. It's a very, I would think, natural desire. So initially, my strategy was understanding. I always closely tied fulfillment and understanding together because I find learning to be a very fulfilling thing. To understand how variables X, Y, and Z come together to make a thing, whatever that is, I find very fulfilling. I really enjoy being able to, walk down the road or a trail or see a plane or really experience and be able to make associations and um, uh, connections between what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing and other things around me that I'm experiencing. I find it very, very enjoyable to lose myself in every individual variable. And so a quick example of that might be like, so it's raining. And the fact that it's raining is incredible because not only can I see that, which, your evolution had to use the mistake to iteratively carve out you being able to use your eyes to see a wavelength of, in our case, 10 to the negative 19th, which is what the sun emits, to have a fast input-output system or feedback loop to let me see the raindrop in the first place, right? But then at the actual raindrop, the four fundamental forces, electromagnetism, excuse me, the weak and strong interaction, and then gravity pulling the raindrop towards the center of the earth, that's all implied in the raindrop. And then past that, the raindrop, because it's water, H2O, talks about precipitation and the fact that billions of years ago, our planet was pelted with an ice storm. And that ice storm is why we have so much water. And so that's implied in the raindrop. And then the clouds, right? So us being hit by, while we're revolving around the sun, we got hit by a similar sized rock that was revolving around the sun and gave us our wobble, which added immensely to the uneven heating and distribution of heat on the surface of the Earth, which is a very, very large driving factor in how clouds move and how precipitation moves around the Earth. So that's implied in the raindrop. And then, I'll just give one more. The fact that, rain scrubs CO2 from our atmosphere and it takes it back down to the Earth in the center of the bottom of the ocean. And in South America's case, like rain pelting against mountains puts large amounts of nutrients into the ocean, which allows microorganisms to thrive. And then after the rainstorm's over and the nutrients stop coming in, and the microorganisms use up all of those nutrients, they sink and their skeletons sink to the bottom of the ocean, and creates the fertilizer, like in Sahara Desert's case, for other forests throughout the world. So there's so much. I love getting lost in a variable, all of the variables around me, and just the amazing complexities that all have to work together to create them. And that's just in a raindrop. I mean, far less chlorophyll or the engineering of that door or the essence of that chair or pink or the garden of complex interactions that my body is. I mean, every single one of these variables, every single one of the things that you can experience are incredible if you're aware enough to find the beauty in them, to find the incredibleness in them. And so that was my strategy for a long time. Educate, 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 educate. And in a sense, foster the inoculation that wonder gives you by seeing something and just being fascinated with it, and the fractal amazingness that every single variable in my physical existence implies. And by fostering that for so long, getting lost in that wonder for so long, I did find it very fulfilling. And I did take a lot of inherent peace from it. And it's something that I believe everyone should try to do. But you could make a very good argument that I believe that because I had so much success with it. And it's something that I think I'll probably do for the rest of my life. Now, that being said, I'll never achieve a holistic understanding. I'll never be able to understand everything and hold existence in the palm of my hand and be, I got it. I understand. I have now reached fulfillment. And because of that, searching for fulfillment in that strategy probably isn't going to end up working for me. In a sense, it's chasing bliss, just like a previous video. And that bliss being getting lost, having my sense of me, the ego, not existing because it's bewildered by everything. That made me reevaluate my relationship with curiosity. So, as far as we can tell, curiosity, somebody's playing music, I hope you can hear. Oh, they stopped. As far as my relationship with curiosity goes, curiosity for me, and a lot of the scientific community agrees, stems from your relationship with the unknown. And just like last video, you can have positive relationships with the unknown or negative relationships with the unknown. An example of a positive one would be, let's say I see a bird eating a coconut, and I don't know how to get into the coconut, so I wonder how I can get into the coconut because I see that bird eating that coconut, and I know I can eat that coconut. It's a positive relationship with something you don't know because there's a pooling factor there. You're like, oh, I'm curious. I'm intrigued as to how this works. And I think a lot of lifelong learners have very positive relationships with curiosity and the unknown, which is why they're so intrigued. Oh, I wonder how that works. Oh, I wonder how that works because it's a fun game trying to put the puzzle together. But on the flip side, you can have very negative relationships with curiosity, which exist in anxiety or call it reactivity to negativity. So a quick example of that would be, let's say you and I are walking along the savannah and there's a rustling of the leaves behind us. And you, being the evolutionarily superior being, flip around real fast because you think it might be a predator. You know, even if it's not a predator 99 times, that one time it is, you're going to be ready. Versus me, who I'm always like, oh, you know what, 99% of the time, it's just the leaves, just the leaves, just the leaves. That one time it is a predator, I'm going to die. And because of that, selection has passed on a reactivity to negativity to be far greater than positivity. And that's also reflected in how many compliments you have to give somebody to counter out an insult. It's like 8 or 16 compliments to one insult. So that's pretty reactive on one end. And so when that type of negative relationship with the unknown runs rampant, that's how people develop anxieties and paranoias and call it general unpleasant demeanors. And I'm not saying that they have control over it necessarily, but it's when that relationship with the unknown is a source of vast discomfort and they can't glean positive from it. My relationship with the unknown was very curious. It was positive, and I'm thankful for that. But finding the negative in it, like we talked about last video, was so important for me because in realizing that I was using curiosity to inoculate my discontent with reality via the tool of fascination, I realized not only is that strategy eventually going to, well, likely eventually not going to work, but B, it's not actually cultivating what I want. It's just masking what I don't want, which is boredom. So in doing that and accepting that, I was able to change my feelings towards curiosity. And that's a great thing because now I'm no longer enslaved to information. I'm no longer enslaved to analysis. I can indulge in analysis and take the good in it, but I can also step back from it and allow appreciation and gratitude of all I don't know, which is something I had to foster. So what I mean by that is all of the variables you can keep in mind. There's so many others that you can't. So the shroud of what is known is wrapped in the unknown. And as much as you can understand and appreciate, for example, my heart beating, right? And so that's supplying the nutrients to my cells, right? And oxygen to my cells for them to keep living, which is supplying my ego with the ability to keep perceiving, and which is supplying my consciousness with the ability to make this video. So I can take gratitude in each of those steps, right? So I'm really thankful my heart's beating, so to speak. But the epigenetic, or let's call it evolutionary pathway, the exact one that my heart took in its development, I don't know the whole thing. I likely never will. And I can take gratitude in the unknown of not understanding how this evolved, because I take gratitude in what I do know, which is a byproduct of that unknown. And so fostering that gratitude in the surrounding unknown of what I can hold in my focus led me to, it's going to seem kind of obvious, but just such a grateful view of my life, or of existence in general, that all of these variables interact and play in a way that allows life. It allows existence. This doesn't have to be local to life, just existence is fascinating. And I take so much gratitude in it that the idea of fulfillment, once you feel that level of gratitude, kind of trickles away. What could be more fulfilling than just this gracious existence full of positive and negatively perceived, egoly defined experiences? The living in the moment, and just the fact that everything works the way that it does to foster rational, or call it micro and macro relationships and explanations for the moment, is baffling. There's nothing, no human can keep it all in mind. We can keep immense amounts of it in mind, but the more you keep in mind, the bigger the shroud of the unknown grows. So unless you're going to have no mind and egolessness, which maybe that's a solution, you're never going to be able to achieve a holistic understanding. And that's okay, because you can take gratitude in the unknown, and take gratitude in not being able to achieve a holistic understanding, and have that gratitude feed a sense of overwhelming gratefulness, and by extension peace, in just existing, just being in the now. And for me, that was a huge catalyst for peace. I can experience anything and perceive good in it, perceive bad in it, and be thankful and have a deep sense of gratitude for even the opportunity to experience it. It's easy to say and easy to hear when you're in a comfortable state. And the real challenge comes in fostering that type of mentality when you're in an uncomfortable state. Because when the animal is in pain, it can be very persuasive to get you out of pain. But without pain, without the relativistic view that pain gives you, you wouldn't be able to take comfort and pleasure. And there are comforts in pain that you can take. If you're aware enough and you have a holistic view of the pain that you are experiencing, by changing your perspective of that negative thing, just like in the last video, you can glean so much positivity from it. And having that tool and that security in knowing I'm going to be able to take positivity in all of the negativity that comes my way, because it's a construct of, the mind, and I've become good at negotiating with the mind and the ego and perception and things like that, quells a lot of the existential anxieties about the unknown, and allows me to take gratitude in them. So today, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit more of a view of the puzzle that I solved, or I think I solved, to come to a stance where I'm okay and at peace with existence, big time. Just so you can juxtapose that to, your own experience, and if you can integrate anything that I've said, wonderful. And if you, on the flip side, are like, this guy's full of shit, and I'm wasting my time, and he's made these fallacies A, B, and C, the fact that I can be a catalyst for you is great. It's wonderful, because in being a catalyst for you, you've helped enhance and broaden your perspective. You've given it another piece of information. You've become more intimate with the problem of existence. And that's wonderful. So thank you, even the people that don't like my videos. Because I like making these for you too, believe it or not. So I will be putting out more content as I do, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.